Good morning and welcome to this Tuesday's edition of NASA's International Space Station Update Hour. You're getting a look now inside of the flight control room here in Houston, Texas, where the Orbit 2 team is currently on console, monitoring systems on board the orbiting laboratory. That team today is being led by Flight Director Ron Spencer there in the center of your screen, and a little bit above him is Capcom Dan Tanney, serving as the voice link between controllers here on the ground and the astronauts in space. And those astronauts up there right now are the crew of Expedition 30. They are being led by NASA astronaut Dan Burbank. Crew of Expedition 30. See the crew here. There in the front row left is Expedition 30 commander and NASA astronaut Dan Burbank. And also in the front row on the right is Russian cosmonaut Oleg Kononenko. Going across the back row, starting with the left, you have Russian cosmonauts Anton Shkaplerov and Anatoly Ivanishin, and then European Space Agency astronaut Andrei Kuipers, and then finally NASA astronaut Don Pettit. The crew awoke this morning at about midnight Central Time, beginning a busy day filled with a lot more maintenance work. Commander Burbank started his day off working on the water recovery system, removing a gas buildup that had filled the contingency water container before moving on to troubleshoot the ISS, or the International Space Station Agricultural Camera, which had a laptop activation failure. He's then spending the latter part of his day and some of his activities right now working on the capillary flow experiment, continuing some of the work he did yesterday. That is a fluid physics experiment that looks at modeling the dynamic nature of fluids in microgravity and how to control those through the use of capillary forces. Russian cosmonaut Anton Shkaplerov, right as he woke up today, took some body mass and muscle size measurements as part of a Russian experiment that looks to document the changes in the astronauts' bodies due to the microgravity environment exposure of these long-duration space flights. He then went on to do an equipment audit of all of their photo and video tools available on board the station. His fellow Russian cosmonaut Anatoly Ivanishin took some time out to do a Life on the Station photo and video event for Russian use later on, before moving on to some routine coolant maintenance on the Russian segment. The third Russian cosmonaut, Oleg Kononenko, was working on the pneumocard experiment today, which is an integrated study of how the cardiovascular system in the crew members adapts during a long-duration microgravity mission. He was also doing an audit of the station's medical kits and doing a swap out of one of the food warmers that the astronauts use. European Space Agency astronaut Andrei Kuipers is doing some more work today with the VO2 max system, which helps to evaluate the astronauts' maximal oxygen uptake and their respiratory performance both before, during, and after their long-duration space missions. He will be doing some more routine cleanings of the U.S. segment later on today. And the final Expedition 30 crew member, Don Pettit, took a lot of his time today to clean out some of the deck crew quarters, focusing on the intake and exhaust ducts inside of each of the small cabin-like structures, and then working on their fan and airflow sensors. And over the last few hours, he's been taking some samples from the water recovery system, specifically focusing on its water processing assembly. With all of these activities scheduled, the crew will be undergoing another very busy day, with their sleep period scheduled to begin at about 3:30 p.m. Central Time.